This application took me a little while to figure out since it's example 4 of this scenario, XSS vulnerability. So what we're going to do is we're going to try multiple ways like we did before, trying to kind of obfuscate the levels of complexity when we type in certain characters. So for example, we do script, we add the script tag, sed tag, then we add a value of the method. Okay, that didn't work because we accidentally did it in there. So that was my mistake. Yeah, let's try that again. So if we do alert 1, error. So it gives us an error. It doesn't actually work. And if we go to page source, we can see that it just renders the page normally and just, I guess, appends this element to the page, giving us this error. The question is, how do we bypass this scenario? Well, I've got something very interesting. It's an interesting technique. So the last technique which we used in the video was the script tag was filtered, meaning we cannot use the script tag anymore to embed a JavaScript attack, JavaScript alert method, because this will flag it as the XSS vulnerability. So if that doesn't work, then we can try the image one as before. We tried this one before. I applied the source is nothing, but on error, then we provide the JavaScript method, which is alert, which will tell us if this is vulnerable to XSS. And if you go ahead and do that, the same thing happens. It's error. It gives us an error. So I guess the way that I kind of got around this is essentially, figuring out what other HTML elements can I use to kind of embed this onto the web page, but also make it vulnerable. So I thought, what is a very creative way to embed this attack? So I thought about the A tag, right? Which is a link tag. Now, if you actually set up the link tag, then it would actually redirect somewhere else. So, if you're not familiar with the link tag, let me show you a test example. So let's say I wanted it to go to google.com, right? So if I click on that, it will lead me to Google. But the thing is, I don't care about that. What I care about is, okay, how can we have a link on the page, but if a person clicks it, it executes JavaScript code. So we can't add anything to the page as such, like when we append the JavaScript, because it automatically puts it onto the page, right? Which makes it vulnerable and injects it into the application. But now they prevented that from happening. So I thought, okay, why don't I do an A tag, because it's a link tag, and if it's embedded on the page, then I'll be able to execute the code when the person clicks it. So that being said, if you just put in something random and then you do something like on mouse enter, I think that is a method in JavaScript that you can use to say, okay, well, if the person, I guess you can also do on mouse hover. So when your mouse hovers over it, it actually executes the code, right? So I don't know if this is actually going to work, but it's worth a shot. So JavaScript alert 1. Okay, no, it didn't work. Okay, that's a problem. So on mouse over, okay, I guess we don't need the href. I mean, the href is quite pointless, but on mouse, maybe enter. I don't know if that one's, yeah, but the thing is, it's not executing on the page because it's figuring out that there has to be an array in the PHP code, because this is a PHP application. In the PHP code, there's an array of certain words that is filtered out. And if it sees that there's a word called JavaScript, then append the error on the page and limit access to the person appending any element on the page. So what does that mean? It means that we cannot do this either as well. So maybe there's another way which we can figure out this type of attack. So JavaScript alert 1. It's just a simple JavaScript method that we can use, but again, and we can't do that because it doesn't label anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, we've just done it again. We've just executed JavaScript code. If we do alert, now I assume that it could affect the whole application itself. So let's just alert. Yeah, so it does work. It does. So this is the HTML body element, and we've just executed I guess this is an XSS kind of vulnerability. I mean, it is because it's obviously working. So there's other JavaScript methods which we can use. JavaScript, documentation. If you're not familiar, just go to the JavaScript documentation. You can see the basics stuff. What I really want to look at is what we can do with all these other stuff. I mean, I guess what I can try. Okay, let's look for the document, right? So the document, not the query element. So we can affect the page and do certain things. Obviously, it won't work all in one line, because I guess what we can do is document. Let's try this. Body dot style dot background color. There we go. Look at the JavaScript code being executed. So we changed the background to red. If we do blue, it executes the code. And this is a client-side XSS vulnerability. So it only happens to us. But if we actually send this to someone else and they actually click on it, it would also affect it for them. And also what we can do is do what we did before, is send that malicious link like this, and also log the cookie on the. So if I do that, the cookie would show up. So for example, if I go into inspect and I just store something randomly, if I go to storage and I just click a random value, add something random, and now I actually click it, here's the cookie value. I guess what we can do, I don't know if this will work again. It doesn't really work. I'm not entirely sure why. But if I just set up something so random, like, let's just set up this. A simple HTTP server. And if they actually click the link, it would actually give me that cookie as well. This is what I've been trying to figure out all along. And I want to really try it. So dot location. Because this is how you'll be able to hijack someone's session, you see. So if I was to do window.location, so by the way, let me copy this so you can see on a terminal. So this is the code, right? This is like literally what I've just done. So I basically, excuse me, I basically have this here. This is the parameter which we are executing the code in. And by the way, this is the parameter which is vulnerable. We can enter any sort of code and it will affect the web page, such as we can add HTML elements and change attributes within the HTML. We can also, affect the HTML where it can run JavaScript code. That's the vulnerability. And when we can do that, we can also infect the entire application. Well, it's on our client side, but if this was stored, it would affect the application for other users as well. But the really interesting thing here is if I do window.location and I do something like what I wanted to do, which was add the link or the URL. I don't know if this will entirely work because when I do alert, it's going to do window.location is equal to, and it's going to give me that. So if I don't know, okay, what is my address here? Let me just get my address. So it's 44. Okay, so 192.168.1.44, my local server. And I mean, I can render the index HTML if I really needed to. But the value is what I want. Plus document.cookie. That should work in theory. I don't know if it will. Let's copy it and let's see what happens. Nothing's happening. In the video that you're currently watching, this is the tactic that I was trying to do. So when a user or when the script tag executes and you have the cookie value, it logs it onto the terminal on the server. But I managed just to set up a PHP localhost server. And essentially when you execute that JavaScript code, the expectation is that if the user has an account already, it would send you the cookie or their session ID, which means that you can log into the account without their credentials. So just keep note of that. So the video that you're currently watching, this technique did not work because it doesn't have that setup, but I'm just testing it on a different application where this can work, and you can see already in the terminal, you can see there, it does work, and it maliciously redirects them to our site. Anyways, back to the video. Nope, nothing on our server yet. So window.look, window.location. I don't think it's executing because the way that we write within a string is a little bit different. So maybe we can add these strings instead and see if that makes a difference. Oh wow, that actually didn't make a difference. Maybe because of this. So value plus. Oh, I see what went wrong. Okay. I'm talking about these ones. So my bad. So this needs to be that string. This string needs to be that string. Okay, let's just try this one more time. Nah, okay, this is not working. What if I remove the strings? Like, what if I just get rid of it? Like that. And I just run it like that. What happens? Literally nothing. It's kind of weird that window location doesn't work. I have no idea. Alert window location. There we go. So that worked. So basically what I changed was I had to do, because it's all to do with string concatenation. And you can see here, this is what the, okay, well, that's not the original. And by the way, it's going to keep doing that now, so it's annoying. But you can see here what I did differently. I just added the $sign and then wrapped it in the curly brackets, right? And now I can execute that code without a problem. So now let's give it a go. So I don't want it to execute that. I want it to go to my server, and then essentially, let's have a look. I do that, and then do, I'm just trying to think how I'd get around this. Slash index HTML. I don't know. Do I have an HTML document? Hey, yeah, I do. Okay, good. So index HTML. So, and then value is equal to, and then it's just blank. And then outside of that will be document dot cookie. So basically it will get the cookie value. It will just download it. It will just get it. It will just send that to my server, which is what I really want to show. So if I can do that, it just makes sense to know what I'm showing. And again, it doesn't work. Maybe I have to do it outside of it. I don't know. Getting weird now. Let's try that. Nope. Again, not working. Maybe document.cookie. Okay. Let me test something. That works. Okay, you can see that works, right? So when they actually go on that link, it redirects them once the JavaScript code executes onto the web page. But again, we're dealing with the same problem. This was just like a quick tutorial on how to bypass it on example 4 of this video. So this was example 4 of the XSS attack vulnerability, XSS vulnerability. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next.